This is Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. Coming up, Dundalk are saved until the end of the season. What next for Casement Park and Euro 2028? Plus, Irish lads having a stormer in the Champions League. It's Lansdowne Road. Hello and welcome to another episode of Lansdowne Roar, not Road, as I said in the intro. Sure. We have both of them anyway. David Dunn here, joined by Conor McAvoy from Republic of Ireland Player Tracker. As always, guys, if you like what you see and you love what you hear, do scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And if you want opinion, where Conor also writes, and myself the odd time, head over to lansdowneroar.ie, lansdowneroar.ie. And while we're at it, first of all, hit the subscribe button, please, on this page. And please hit the like button on this video if you're watching on YouTube. It really does help. It helps the algorithm, helps us get out there. We're trying to grow the page, so we'd really appreciate that. And while we're at it, why not give Conor a follow over there at Rep Tracker over on Twitter. If you want to know what's going on, the latest players coming through, the latest news on the current players, the latest on the next generation of players, wherever they are, Rep Tracker is the boy for you. Conor, how are you doing? You're very welcome. No Martin today. He's climbing the walls with the Risk London 40th anniversary dinner dance, where actually, if you're going to that, enjoy it. It's going to be a great night. Loads of guests there. And myself and Martin will be covering it for the page. Sorry, Conor.
I'm actually all good. I'm more excited about Irish football since that international break has ended. The buzz around Irish football, from Dundalk looking like they're saved to Troy Parrott scoring 4 goals to the 2 lads scoring for Celtic last night. It's actually a lot more buzz around it than I thought there would be. It's been a good upturn in the last week and a half, I would say. Would you say so?
I would. It was kind of funny, like the players that didn't get a minute in the last window, other than Adamina, of course. Yeah, doing really well, having a stormer. Yeah. Fantastic to see.
It's good to see competition for places now.
It is, as long as those places are dealt with fairly, and we're not just sort of giving places to our favourites. But we will try not to get too dragged into that. So first up is Dundalk, and the Lily Whites are partly safe for the rest of the season. Here's the story anyway. It did break on the 17th of September. I'm going to read this from the BBC website. Dundalk are set to avoid liquidation and complete the remainder of the League of Ireland Premier Division season after a deal was agreed to save the club. There had been fears the Lily Whites would fold on Monday after the club had been hit by cash flow problems under the ownership of Brian Ainscough. Here is a picture of him there. That's Brian Ainscough, the former owner of Dundalk. And of course, new owners led by this man, John. Is it John Temple, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
There he is. So, Conor, good news good news last couple of days, because there were fears of Dundalk, once a team caning the League of Ireland under Stephen Kenny, doing ever so well in Europe as well. So we'll get to the questions about where's the money gone. So they're safe for now, but it's not long term, is it?
Yeah, when you look at John Temple did an interview with the Dundalk media team, which was on their YouTube earlier, and he did say there's still a lot of problems at the club, that financially they're in huge financial threat, but they're going to do everything to raise money over the next couple of months to survive in the long term. And he said the main focus at the moment was not making sure the club went at the scarp, so they would have got a point deduction if they did, and it's given the players on the pitch the best chance to recover. Like there was a statement put out earlier on Twitter saying that he has delayed wages this week till next week, but I think it must be just to get in the house in order sort of thing for the week. But I think he would be able to pay them if he needed to be, but I think that'll be 2 weeks wages he has to play next week.
It's incredible. I mean, just looking through the stats at Dundalk, the Lily Whites are the second most successful team in the League of Ireland. They're currently bottom, actually, at the moment of the Premier Division. They have won 5 league titles and 3 FAI Cups in the space of 7 years, and played in Europa League as recently as 2020. What's gone
Like
on there? I mean,
in the modern era, they're by far the greatest ever League of Ireland side. Like that team under Stephen Kenny was absolutely ridiculous for League of Ireland standards, and the money situation is absolutely crazy. Like the fact that obviously when you have per owners like Peak Six and uh, like money's not being raised and the money's been spent stupidly, you're not going to be thingy. And like when fans try to do fundraisers and the last two owners say no, it doesn't help either.
yeah, I mean, when Ainscuff took over, just reading a quote here, he said that Oriel Park is a pigsty. I mean,
He's not
yeah, I mean,
wrong.
he's not wrong. I mean, a lot of stadiums in League of Ireland need that money, need that investment. The League of
It's
Ireland's
the
doing.
worst by far, though. Actually, I hate Dundalk's Oriel Park with a passion. I'm nothing against Dundalk fans. I just can't stand the Astro there and the PA system and just the whole stand. Like it's for a club that size, this should have so much better.
Yeah, it looks like something from Craggy Island, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Apparently, they had a €500,000 grant to improve the artificial pitch and floodlights at the stadium to be brought forward. But I don't know
sure.
if they're
That
even.
thing is that won't do much, and that doesn't affect the finances. It has to be spent on that, so it's just money coming in and going straight back out. If you get me, but it's not
Yeah,
enough to improve Oriel Park like massively, Renton.
it just amazes me when you look at Ireland. Like Ireland's a very cash rich country. It's got 13 billion
Yeah,
coming in from Apple, for example. And yet you look at some of the stadiums and they're like I don't know. I'd imagine a stadium like Oriel Park, it wouldn't cost. Yeah, okay, it'd be a lot of money to you and I, but imagine a consortium could come together in Ireland and tear
yeah,
that place down and then build up a decent size
yeah.
stadium, obviously open to further expansion.
Mhm.
I mean, where has the money gone? Any idea? They must have raised millions from the Europa League.
It's too great because I don't think there's you can pinpoint one thing, can you? Because like usually with these sort of things, when clubs waste that money, you'd see stuff put out saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe they spent like the transfer fees weren't huge." Like it's not like Stephen Kenny was on mad money. It's just crazy to think what actually they done with that money. Like I don't think anyone can pinpoint one thing. Obviously, when you had owners like Peak Six who came in and they were an absolute
Yeah.
disgrace, like it doesn't help. But
What
it's
what
just mental.
you say they were a disgrace. Now you know so much more about League of Ireland than I would. That wouldn't take much. But why were they a disgrace? What? Give me an example. What did they do?
Just just taking money out of the club, not putting any effort into improving the club, wasting money on stupid things. I don't know. I've no actual information, which is something that I think Dundalk fans like. I was speaking to a Dundalk fan the other day, and Dundalk fans are getting a lot of grief over saying like this buy a coffee they only raised 20K from it. But I don't think they actually knew where the money was going. But they were saying the lad I was speaking to was saying that the front like they've on the last two owners they've requested to do fundraisers because the new Dundalk, even under peak six, they were in poor financial struggle and they were they asked to do fundraisers, they asked and they just wouldn't let them do it. Like it's crazy to think that a club like that won't would like especially when you're in financial difficulty, the owners won't let. And I think there's a lack of communication as well from peak six and I I'd imagine when you make the money like they did in Europe and Oriel Park doesn't improve at all, I think that you lose a lot of faith in any owners.
What? Yeah, I mean, the first bite's with the eye, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I've been saying this for years in this podcast. The League of Ireland needs serious sexing up.
yeah.
You watch it on the telly and you see a stadium like Oriel Park. Now you look at Tallaght Stadium.
Palace top class, like
Yeah, fantastic. We could have that standard across the league. That's a great starting point.
yeah,
Obviously, you want to
hmm
build on that.
yeah,
You want stadiums to be 20,000, maybe up to 30,000.
yeah,
Some of them, like where possible, that's how you want to grow the game. But you look at Oriel Park, you look at some of the grounds, and you think, really, like even Richmond Park isn't great either, is it? It's very
yeah.
small. That hasn't been developed
As
really.
far as I'm aware, as with Oriel Park, they can't have television games anymore because of just they've no media suite as a sense and like where you get a room where to go in at halftime and like where, I don't know what you even
Jesus
call that.
Christ, green room
Like
or
yeah,
just yeah, just
like,
just
I
no
don't know
media
when.
facilities.
Yeah, I don't know when's the last time Dundalk have been a televised game whilst being at home. Like
Why is it with Irish football that we always seem to be firefighting? Like just a general state of
yeah,
football. Like, the FEI announced that they're cutting is it the academy program they're cutting?
the emerging talent program, which is like say you have your DDSL and you have teams going to the Candy Cup. That's what the emerging talent program is. So I'd imagine they're getting rid of all that, which
Jesus.
is crazy.
It is crazy. I mean,
Mm.
you look at the League of Ireland, I mean, you look at most leagues, they have standards. I mean, the Premier League, for example, is the biggest
Yeah,
league in the world. It's the best league in the world, whether you like it or not. And, you look at how far like how high the standards are there. Like, I remember when I used to work in the Premier League for a club, and, stuff I couldn't believe when they were it was Fulham, and he got relegated, and they used to get away with a few things because they were there for a number of years. But when he came back up from the Championship, and all of a sudden the new rules were implemented, and the stuff they had, like the standards, like every game has had anyway a Premier League manager. Like, we're the Premier League. These are the standards. That needs to
yeah,
be better. That needs to go. Next week, I want to see that's not to be here next week. Like, they have standards, and we just don't seem to have them. Now, obviously, that's the mecca of football leagues, the
yeah,
league, the Premier League. Some people might not want that. They love the misery. But you look at the League of Ireland. We don't even have basic standards in the League of Ireland, do they?
no,
Like, er, for example, when the Premier League came in '92, um, the boot room in Anfield was knocked down because they had to have a press conference room. They had to have a
yeah,
proper media room. They were the standards that came in. That was in
yeah,
1992. And there you are in 2024 in Oriel Park, can't have football matches
yeah.
shown on
Crazy.
telly because it's disgraceful, really. And I mean, this is why they need 700 million euro or 800 million euro to bring the game up to scratch. Quick before we move on to the next one, but where do you see this going, Connor?
I think they will be all right. A town like Dundalk just can't lose a football team. Like with Monaghan, like where I'm from, like it's football isn't what it is in Dundalk. And when you go to Dundalk, people, it's their lives in Dundalk. Like the mental health rates, like in Dundalk, I'd say would have been crazy over the next couple of months if they would have went bust. And I think with fundraising, they are renting out the indoor football pitches that they use for people to have for parties and just for football to raise funds. They're
Yeah,
renting out the club gym for people to use, which will obviously raise funds as well. And they will. I'm presuming they get investors. Like there's a lad on Twitter called Donald Green, and he's living in Canada, I believe, and he's just a fan, and he's turned into a successful businessman, and he made an offer to Inscrow and flew over from Canada to get there the next morning to hopefully speak to him more. But whatever way, Temple had the club bought by the time he got to speak to him again. But I'd imagine when you have someone like that flew all the way to Canada to hopefully save his football club, that he would become an investor in the club that would help get them out of this mental thingy. But like I think Dundalk in the long run could, if they get relegated, they could be in the first division for a couple of years in terms of they'll have to trim back their squad massively, and they'll have to uh, just little things they'll probably have to do to in terms of they won't be as professional as what they would have been, but
yeah,
it might be for the better, and I think it will be for the better in the long run. Like they have a lot of money to catch up on.
yeah. I mean, we'll see what's going to happen anyway. But hopefully, just for. I mean, I know some rival fans will be laughing at this, but I mean, the League of Ireland as a whole needs clubs
Yeah,
like Dundalk in it. Anyway, well, we'll keep you up to date on that. Moving on, and speaking of putting out fires, we head over to Casement Park, or as I called it in the previous episode, Casement Lark, which I thought was a very, very underrated pun, by the way. But there it is. You see the three pictures. That's the current state if you're watching on YouTube,
I think
and
it's
then
worse than that now.
I think it is. Yep. And
It's a
then the
lot
picture
worse than that.
and the picture underneath is what they wanted it to be. So, let's just read here. So, this is from the BBC website again in Northern Ireland. Government will not fund Casement for Euro 2028. The chance of Northern Ireland hosting matches at Euro 2028 football tournament appear to have gone. The UK government announced on Friday night that the estimated cost of rebuilding Casement Park Stadium in Belfast has risen dramatically to more than 400 million. So it ain't going to happen. I think the Irish government gave 50 million towards it. It's cross
Mm.
border, like they have a pouch, don't they, for cross
Sure, when it's
border.
GA, like even though people don't like the GA, obviously the Irish government's gonna feed
Yeah.
our national sport.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad that Northern Ireland isn't going to get to host this. It would have been a lovely sort of legacy tournament for
Yeah,
them. You know, but like I said it at the time that this bid was riddled with problems.
yeah.
It was papering over the cracks for no reason. There's one right there. Windsor Park, I think, has 10,000 capacity. Does it?
I think it's bigger than that. I just don't think it's big enough. I think it's a good bit bigger than 10K.
Let me have a look here.
I think it's a bit.
Um,
I think it's
it's
closer to 30K than it is to 10K.
it's
Sure,
not.
sure, it's
It's
not
not.
10K.
They can't
Sure,
have
Tal
it.
is 10K.
18,500. So it
Yeah,
wasn't a million miles away. Oh, okay, double. So it's 18,500 capacity. So it's nowhere near big enough. And you can't really
yeah,
expand it, I don't think, where it is because it's like complexes around it. And it's in a housing estate. It's like in
yeah.
the unionist housing estate. I remember seeing that go past on the train a few times. And yeah, so Northern Ireland now is not going to have a match or not going to host any games, which I think is I think that part is really sad. I'm not too fussed about the whole GAA thing because I did think it was ridiculous that in Ireland, um, the only sport to really benefit would be the GAA with the refurbishment
Yeah,
of a new stadium, which did not sit well with me, to be
yeah.
honest. That ideally,
Especially, well, I'm someone from Monaghan, like, and the Ulster final for forever time has always been held in St. Ciarnoc's Park, and in a place like Clonus, it's turned into a bit of a rundown town. It's their only bit of income really massive for the year is the Ulster final coming to Clonus, and I know people want to Casement because Casement would be a better stadium, but if if St. Ciarnoc's Park has been the home really for Ulster football in that sense for years, so I don't understand why they wouldn't put money into actual Casement or into St. Ciarnoc's Park. Like it doesn't make sense what the situation is here.
yeah. I mean, I remember when it was funny when Leo Varadkar announced it that oh, this is a great opportunity to show our world class stadiums, world class facilities here, and then a few weeks later, the FEI said actually we need £1 billion to get the
Hmm.
stadiums up to scratch, and there's nowhere not now. Okay, you can't blame that on Varadkar, obviously. What's happening in Northern Ireland, but yeah, it's just I think it's a shame. But the unions were against it as well, weren't they? They just did not want anything
Oh,
being
they're
built.
very anti it, aren't they?
But
Like
that's
you
them,
can't
isn't
blame
it?
them in a sense, yeah. But now, well, they're meant to preach cross community and wanting Catholics to play for the North, but that doesn't help when you're so anti it in that sense. But you can understand where they're coming from that they're just building it for a tournament that possibly Northern Ireland mightn't even be in, and they might ever never get use of it. Like just used for a couple of tournaments for a few teams, and then GA after that.
Well, you see, yeah, I mean that you understand. Like, what is the deal going forward? What is it? It isn't. Yeah, because their home state, it really Windsor Park should have been extended. Basically,
Yeah.
it should have but they've only had a recent expansion, haven't they? They've a
Mhm.
refurbishment because that was supposed to be it's supposed to be done sort of gradually, but one of the
Yeah.
stands was actually sinking in the stadium, and they had to knock it down, and
Oh,
they had to speed it up, and he got money from the Northern Ireland Exchequer. Um, but that's the stadium that really should be benefiting from this, not a Gaelic stadium where they're
yeah.
not going to play the matches in Casement Park. So, what they should have done was when they knocked down the Maze prison, they should have just built they were supposed to build a national stadium up there, and they
Mhm.
just didn't build it. And
And the fact is, the UK government have more than enough money to build another stadium for
oh, they
Northern Ireland.
don't. They don't.
Due to the
They
money
don't.
that they receive.
They don't. This country is in the shit right now. They're trying to plug a £22 billion black hole. Trust me, this government does not have the money people think it does. The Tories ran it into the ground. Brexit as well. COVID. Everything's kind of
Mm.
stifled the government. Excuse me, stifled the country. Um, they don't have the money. So when I saw that, I understand why the UK government haven't built that. To be fair, it's unfortunate, but they don't have the money, Connor. They really don't.
Yeah,
And
I
I was
didn't
just
think that.
yeah, no, it's just trust me. I've got my ear close to the ground on that one because we have a budget coming up on the 30th of October, and I am breaking it because there's all sorts of austerity measures coming in and all that. So no, uh, they don't have the money. But what's happening? Do we know what's going to happen with the other games? Are they coming to Dublin, or are you going to go to
I
England? Or
I don't know if you might know more than me, but when it initially was announced, Mark McCadden had a thing out saying the original plan was uh, the three other non-England hosts were getting an extra game each from 6 to 7.
okay,
That's
so
what but this was whatever the initial plan was whenever they initially made it out that if Casement wasn't built, but instead of if Aviva was meant to have 6 games and now would have 7. I think that's why they're talking about Parky Queeve and Crow Park in that sense to get them the game. But
yeah, the GA are happy with that, aren't they? They're like, yeah, no, we'll host it in Park and Queeve. Yeah, we like a bit of that,
I
bit of tosh.
the thing with me with the GA and Parky Queeve, it's not to do with the fact it's the GA. It's the fact that if anyone watched the women's games, if you because the game wasn't sold out, so if you look behind the goals, there was no one there. But in a actual European Championships, if you had people behind the goals, they are a good, I'd say, 50 meters from the pitch. It's actually
Yeah,
mental how far it's like. It's a GA stadium for a reason. I know you'd love to play a football match there and all go well to have a football match in Cork, but just the logistics, the for fans experience, I just don't think it's good enough.
I remember when we used to go to Crow Park to watch Ireland play. I know you weren't born then, and it was just yeah,
Crow
it
Park.
was yeah, it was shit.
I'm not that young, man.
I was wondering, I was like, is he got a couple
I've,
of? Come on, Connor, I've got to, not Martin, isn't he? I got to abuse somebody.
well, I've been at Crow Park to see Ireland play. Don't you worry.
Were you? What were you,
Yeah,
babe in
we played.
arms? Were you?
No, we played when we played Germany. Was it 0-0?
Oh Jesus, yeah. How old were you? One?
I think I'd been by 6.
Jesus. Yeah. So yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see.
It was terrible. It was terrible. Good crack at the pubs and all that, and we used to when we used to go to all the games basically had a season ticket in the Hogan stand. But it was terrible. Like the view, it was so far back from the pitch. It wasn't a football. It's not a football
Yeah,
stadium.
it's not.
And then you see the hill, which looks dreadful. What is it with us, the stadiums here? Like they always seem to be 3/4 complete,
Yeah,
like the Aviva. But although I do love the Aviva to be Lansdowne Road, sorry. But yeah, Park of Queeve. I mean, can that actually host the UEFA game? Because
I seen Dan McDonald say that it's not big enough. So obviously
it's
not.
not big enough. The standards wouldn't be not having to go to GAA, but the standards to host a UEFA tournament game, the standards have to be off the charts. You have to have
Yeah,
X amount of toilets. It's standards. It's all about standards, and they don't have that in the GA. Not having a go, the GA run their own game, but this is a European and a world game, and there's European and world standards, and I don't think it does that. It's got to have a roof on every stand. I'd imagine as well would look. It just wouldn't look good. I don't think the bin
no,
bags over.
and it's not like people might say anti GA this or that, but like I'm a man that loves GA, and I just don't think it
Oh,
works
I
right.
am. I am anti GAA. I can't stand the
Yeah.
thing,
So
but
someone
this
who sits in Bobo's, I just don't think it's right. I think it has to be in the Viva, like
in the what?
in the Viva Stadium,
In the what? Where?
the official name for Lansdowne
What?
Road.
What? Where?
Lansdowne Road.
There we go. That's better. Right. We're going to move it on to a good news story. Finally, there he is, Liam Scales. Player of the match now. Is that what they're calling it? Man of the match. Fuck it. Man of the match for Celtic in their 5-1 win over Bratislava. What was it?
Slovan Bratislava.
Slovan Bratislava. Sounds like a player. Slovan Bratislava. Great win for those. 5-1. Of course, Adamida came on as a sub and he got a goal too. Liam Scales there. Yeah, got a goal. Fantastic stuff. And very proud. I mean, you were watching the game last night. I didn't get to see any of it, but fantastic.
Being honest, I only watched the last 25 minutes. I was on Evan Ferguson watch, and then when Ferguson came off, I switched over. No, it would have been the last half an hour I've seen of Celtic, but Liam Scales, very impressive as ever, won the most duels on the pitch, scored a header, cool, composed on the ball. I know the opposition wasn't much. I think they got a bit overwhelmed by the Celtic Park atmosphere, but it's great to see that in a night like that, Liam Scales showed up as the best player on the pitch. And always good to see Adam Mead because Adam Mead, he has been being honest, like he's been very poor to start the season.
He has.
And but I think that goal could be the what's like resurrection because it was a couple of bad games he's had, but it could be getting him back on the bandwagon of him scoring goals and impressing.
When you're a striker, it goes in off your arse. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. Like as long as it
yeah.
goes in,
And
it gets
it
you
was
going.
a decent finish. Like it was good running behind, and he finished it well.
Speaking of decent finishing, obviously Liam Scales didn't get any minutes during the window, just gone. Also, Troy Parrott didn't get any minutes, and he got 4 against Herivine. Biggest ever win, I think, for AZ Alkmaar, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, 9-1. Poor Robin van Persie got absolutely battered, but no, it was brilliant to see Troy Parrott score 4 goals. He's, as I said to you before on the pre-show for Greece, Troy Parrott's the type of striker. If he scores 1, he could score 3, and if he misses 1 chance, he could miss 5 chances. So it was one of them nights the other night when once he got the first one, you knew he was getting another few.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Troy Parrott, I'm a big fan of him, and I think people are very harsh on him. We probably built him up when he came on the scene about 2019, 2020. It was 2019 he came on the scene, didn't he? And he's like
It's when he came up in the under-17s and he played in the age group up, and he was like the best
yeah,
player in the whole tournament as a 16 or 15-year-old. It was, I think.
yeah, he's a bit of a wonderkind, wasn't
Yeah,
he? As they say in Germany, and we put a bit of pressure on him. He's banging goals in for Tottenham under 21s or the under 20 or whatever the youth sides,
yeah.
like 2-3 goals, fantastic. And he did go off he did go off the rails a little bit. Loan moves to Millwall and Preston. There was one before.
MK Dons was his. It was Millwall. Then he went Ipswich for 6 months, and then MK Dons the next season. But I think
Yeah,
the clear observation from watching them loans, bar the MK Dons ones, is that the EFL just isn't the league for Troy Parrott. It just doesn't suit his game.
yeah. On the continent, he had a great season last year. Excelsior, he went down, but I mean, he put the goals in for them. He did everything. Almost single-handedly kept them up as well. I'm a big fan of Troy, and I really hope he works out. And yeah,
He gets to play against Spurs in the Europa League as well, so it's a bit of extra motivation to score against his old side, which would be good to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I never felt he got. I don't think he got a fair shake. Do you remember he's sitting the bench at Spurs and he didn't have a striker on the Mourinho? You're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
He played him, brought him on in the cup, and then he missed a penalty, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that is why I don't play him. There's too much pressure on it." And it's like it doesn't help when the fans are clamoring for him, and then you bring him on, and when he clearly didn't want to, like that puts more pressure on him that he has to impress when the manager clearly doesn't think he's at the level for it.
Yeah, and especially Mourinho as well. Like
Yeah.
Mr. Man managing himself. But no, it was a good week. It was a very poor weekend.
Yep.
Bar Troy Parrots for the boys of green. We don't have a boys in green on this episode. We will.
But it's good to see Mikey Johnson back, Josh Cullen back, Evan Ferguson back at the weekend. So there was more positives than negatives, I feel.
Yeah, it was okay. Seamus Coleman, out injured, unfortunately, as well. Everton, man, they haven't won a single game. It's great. They're getting relegated, man. It's beautiful. Although Jacob Bryan made his debut for Everton as well, didn't he?
He did all right, and then started the other night in the cup. So hopefully that could be the start of.
Well, we have to talk about Matt Doherty.
Yeah, more of a silence, please.
Well, go on. You love Matt Doherty, so
I don't know what to say. I'd give that man a lot of, let's say, leeway over the last year or two.
You have, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say the boy can't defend.
No.
And
he's better to defend in the back four, but that's probably because he doesn't have to run.
Yeah, and the second Newcastle goal, he basically just doesn't bother getting a challenge on him. He's kind of running by him, ask, like somebody, I don't know, like a reporter runs after, somebody, the president jogging, of the United States jogging down the road, and it's like, Mr. President, can we have a word? It was like that. Like he didn't lay anything on him.
And like I watched him last night he actually got a nice assist, to be fair, and the first 10 minutes of the game started very well, and then there was a time Ferguson completely spun him. Ferguson was absolutely brilliant last night in the first half. He looked like, I know he didn't score, but his link up play, some little flicks he done, it was just good to watch when you could just see that an Irish player looked just top class on the pitch, and like Doherty got a nice assist, but like just some of the things he does defensively. Like at this, he started well the first 10 minutes, and then he gave this back pass to Jose Sa, and just hammered him at his feet. And Ferguson nearly got in and took it off Sa, and that just seemed like Doherty's head went a bit again. And then he did get the assist. Would have been maybe 20 minutes after that, but it's just you just don't. I
See,
don't know him anymore. Like it's
I've
just.
I've no sympathy for him. As a player, like not as a human being. I don't know.
Hmm.
I've stood in a lift with him. Gave me a filthy look. Maybe that's just his demeanor.
Just
I
say
don't
hello to
know.
him.
No,
That doesn't
no,
help. Probably knew you could just tell you're Irish and think, "Is that fella not saying hello to me? I'm a
no.
celebrity."
It was at a game in Lansdowne Road. Like
No.
just
Hmm.
I've said hello to Seamus Coleman as well. I've seen, but he looked. I don't know. Like it's just you get a vibe from somebody. Do you want to say hello to? I'm sure if you saw him like in London somewhere or Wolverhampton, said, "All right, Matt," you go, "All right,"
Yeah.
or whatever.
Some people's
Uh,
demeanors are just that they look moody, like when they're not actually.
yeah, you just kind of look at him and go, "Do you know what? Okay, whatever." It doesn't. I don't care. Like that doesn't bother me. I'm sure. I'm like that as well. I have my moments where I'm just like, talk to anybody. But I have no sympathy for him as a football player. As a human being, as I said, nothing against him as a human being, but as a football player, I have no sympathy because okay, he's having a bad time of it, but he's been having a bad time for a very long time, and he doesn't help himself. He doesn't show passion. He doesn't show effort. People just want effort. If you're a limited player and you're covering, you are busting your arse out there. You're leaving everything out on the pitch. People go, okay, he's a limited player, but you know what? He gives it everything. You could see when he puts that shirt on and he walks out in front of that crowd. He's loving it. Seamus Coleman is
Jason
35.
Malum, like Jason Malumbi's the prime example of that.
Prime example of that, Jason Malum. He's limited, but he gives you everything. And although he's limited, but he just has moments of pure brilliance. It's incredible. Do you
It's
remember when
just
he done?
relative. Go again.
Do you remember when he done? When he was playing for Millwall and he done Charlie Adam, he did the flick and he went back, and
Yeah,
even Charlie Adam did that. Like he applauded him.
yeah.
And the 40-yard pass to
Oh,
Chidozie,
better.
like
It's not even
fabulous.
that with him. Sometimes to me, it's the thing of the just going through someone or just putting a big tackle in that gets the whole crowd going. It's
Yeah,
like I know against England it was a shit show in the end, but that moment when he went up to Grealish and got the whole crowd going for a couple of minutes, and Ireland were
yeah,
over England for that first 5 minutes, and he did help that with that little
yep.
not going through Grealish, but squaring up to him.
But the rest of it, and I said that, didn't I? I said well, that's what we need to do. We need to go. Well, I actually said to do it to Rice, but he did it to Grealish, and I got the crowd going. I said put a reducer on one of the lads. A reducer in 2024 is exactly what Malumbi did. Square
Mm,
up, the handbag stuff.
mm.
You can't put reducer.
Yeah,
Reducer, back when I was watching
you can't
football.
get any more like you
No,
can't
you can't
go and
smash someone.
you're
You can't
you're
you
getting
can't do
sent
what
off.
Keane did to yeah, you can't do what Keane did to Overmars in 2001 and maybe sent straight off. But going back to Doherty, you just don't get that from him, and he looks like he's not enjoying it. And you think, oh, why are you showing up then?
Yeah.
Are you taking this seriously? That's it. That's the phrase. You know, is he taking it seriously? That's the question I should say.
Because he
And I
has to
don't.
do. It's like he's a composed footballer when you see when he gets the football at his feet, but it's just his off ball thing just drives you demented. And it's
Yeah,
even like when you watch him on the ball, he just plays with no confidence.
but he's a luxury player. But a luxury player in that Ireland team's a passenger. That
Yeah,
Ireland team, where it's at right now, needs all 10 lads
yeah,
outside, hands to the pump, giving it everything, covering every inch of. He's not alone, by the way. We could talk about the three lads in the box that stood off the first for the first Greek goal,
mhm,
but that's what gets me going about him. He just doesn't look like he's bothered, and he probably is. I don't know, but that's what gets me about him. But anyway,
yeah.
it was a good week for
Yeah. We had Luke
for
O'Connell playing against United at Old Trafford. I thought it wasn't that he was anything special,
7-1.
but there's little 7-0 even it was,
7-0.
but
I was trying to give him
you
a
could
bit of
do.
credit there, Connie.
Yeah, but you can see little things. He was definitely Barnsley's best player. Little things he
Taking
does
the
on the
ball out
ball,
now.
bit, bit composed on the ball. He's not a goalkeeper, Dave. Don't worry. He's composed on the ball and he wants to play forward. And he's a left-footed centre mid, which is a lot more entertaining. And tonight, actually, people probably don't know that we had an Irishman on the bench for Brest in the Champions League. Noah
I
Kenny, I don't know how you pronounce it. He came through at Home Farm and Shamrock Rovers. I think his dad is French. His dad played in the League of Ireland, I believe, and he went to Brest. I think it's 16 after playing with Shamrock Rovers, and he's third choice keeper, and he was on the bench tonight. So I think he is 2004 age bracket. So it's positive to see another Irishman involved in the Champions League game.
Good to see. Before we go, actually, do you remember in the group yesterday, the Riders group, I noticed a particular shirt online.
Still not happy with this.
I'm not happy about this, right? So anyway, classic football shirts. Well, put it this way: classic football shirts had the 1994 away shirt, USA 1994 away shirt. There it is. That's not the picture. That's from Eddie over at Ireland Soccer Shirts. Check out his website. It's fantastic because you got stuff like this on it, and they show you all the shirts. That's Paul McGrath's shirt. I don't know from which game, but that's the USA 94 away jersey, which we wore a couple of times. It's a lovely shirt, right? You can see it there. Adidas is beautiful, okay? So classic football shirts, which I have bought a couple of shirts from over the years. They charge you an astronomical rate now. Well, they had this lovely shirt up for sale, and this is what they had on their website. And this is a screenshot from the website. Look at the fucking state of that. That's the real one. I don't know what that is. £249, medium. It looks like an AI drawing of it. Does it not, Connor? Am I missing something, Connor? Are you not outraged by this, Connor?
I'm not as outraged as you because I let you do the outraging bit of it. I get more pissed off about stuff on the football pitch, but yeah, no, it is so bad to see. Like, it's classic football shirt. It's a website I love, and I just can't believe that they've messed that up. Like, I don't even know if they've done that on purpose or not. Do you think?
No, I actually contacted him on Twitter. Now, because this is the new me, Connor. This is the new, calmer, more zen, less angry sort of person, version of David. Or Dave, even. See, I'm just chilled out. So I said, normally I'd go on Twitter and call him out and says, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, do you know, who was checking this? But no, I sent him a private message because I didn't want to embarrass them, and, it could be potential sponsors. Who knows? So I just said, hello, I would like to bring something to your attention on your site. It's in regards to a USA 94 away shirt you have for sale. So send him the screenshot. I said, unless I missed something here, but that looks like a fake shirt. And I sent them a picture of Roy Keane wearing it when he did bother to show up at a World Cup, wearing it USA 94. And then I sent them the picture of Eddie's shirt there. And then I said, obviously that's a picture of Roy. I actually did say that. That's obviously a picture of Roy when he actually bothered to play in the World Cup. And I said, look, that's your link there. And I said, I must say I'm a bit puzzled with all due respect. It's not even close. Like, it's not. It's dreadful. And never responded to me. And I checked this morning. No, they took the link down. Yeah, never even responded to me. And that's why I'm being a bastard and putting it on this here as well. Never responded to me. Like, simple. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for that. Maybe they haven't even seen it, and
someone else pointed out, or someone bought it.
Or Marin's probably bought it.
Yeah, I'd say.
That fucker's probably bought it. Like, and him, he he has it all.
No, I know he bought it. Bill Gay, an Irish football blog, because he's the type of fella. Someone just buys it, so he can put it up and say, "I have bought this fake jersey." Everyone abused classic football shirts. They're a disgrace in an organization. That is the type of guy Bill is. Bill will do that. He will do that just to cause mayhem on Twitter. That's the type of guy he is.
He is. That is a shocker. The Adidas isn't in the right color. I mean, Jesus, lads, just type it in. It's unbelievable, yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised then when Martin's on the next one, or you got it behind him. I'll be like, fuck. But anyway, right, we're gonna leave it there. Connor, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching as well. The next episode, we're not too sure when we're going to be on. Do check out the socials. We'll let you know. Been a bit mad trying to get back into real life. after the international window, as it always is. And if you want to check those socials, do scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And if you want an opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie, lansdowneroar.ie. If you haven't already, please, we appreciate if you like this video. It'll help with the algorithm. And if you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, it'll be fantastic as well. Also, if you could give Connor a follow over at RepTracker, you can see it down there, at RepTracker over on Twitter. If you want to know the latest, he's our savant. He is our oracle of Irish football. If you want to know the latest happenings with the current crop, the next crop, and probably the crop that isn't born yet, he's got all sorts of information over there. Head over to Twitter, and it's RepTracker over there. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He is Connor from RepTracker. We're out of here. Good night, and God bless.